Green is live. Alrighty, welcome everybody. Tonight is the Technology Commission. It's our second meeting. It's Tuesday, April 17th, 2018, and it is exactly 6 o'clock p.m. With that, we'll go ahead and get started and do a call to order. William Bell. Ed Guerin.
Here.
Kurt Johnson.
Here.
Greg Lewis.
Here.
John McCannon. Mike Milani.
Here.
And Sean Campus.
Here.
And this is Frank Florentine from staff. All right, this week we don't have minutes. We're still in the process of pulling them together, so we've transcribed them electronically, and now I just have to go back and edit them and clean them up so there's good punctuation and proper spelling of people's names and things of that nature. I don't think we have any items for separate action for tonight since it's our second meeting. And then we'll go to old new business. And we'll start off with our overview of the Smart Cities Initiative. We included a presentation with this month's meeting minutes. And with that, we'll hand it over to Mr. Milani to go ahead and talk about what you have going on.
Sure. And a quick introduction. I wasn't here for the last meeting. My name is Michael Milani. I have been on the Economic Development Advisory Board for Orland Park since the fall. So I've been involved in some activities, one of them being the Smarter Cities workshop that we had a while back. I also have a long history in information technology. I've been working in IT since 1994, been a consultant, many different areas. I've run a consulting practice, and currently working for IBM. So hope to bring some good things to the commission, and I'll go ahead and start talking about what we've been doing with the Smarter Cities initiative. I didn't plan this to be a presentation. It was more of a discussion. That's why I wanted to send it out in advance so everybody would have it. Hope you guys had a chance to look at it. Because one thing I wanted to convey is really what the Smart Cities Initiative is for Orland Park. If we look at some of the introductory slides, we talk about what challenges cities are facing today, and our scale doesn't compare to if we're talking about a Cleveland or something like that is really advanced. And as we were talking about Boston, where they have sensors on the garbage cans, they have sensors on the streets, they're monitoring and reporting data on all these different activities. But what we're trying to look at is how can we bring technology to our citizens? How can we make things better for them? How can we make it better for the consumers in our area and for the businesses in our area? And do that by leveraging technology. So back in the fall, we had a small workshop. It was myself, Mayor Picow, and two other people, Al Hassan and Mr. Aurora was his name, and we just got together and had a workshop, and we provided some of the information you see in this presentation, about what would really drive a Smart Cities initiative, and it's really growth of technology, a sustainable infrastructure, and really enhancing the quality of life of the citizens. And that's what we tried to focus on, whether it was infrastructure-centric, if it was people-centric, or system-wide management-centric. And we started to just kind of brainstorm. And we started brainstorming around different, kind of demographics. What groups do we need to focus on? What types of technology would benefit these different groups? And what do we have today? And what could we do moving forward? And that is some of what I put together in the presentation. And we started by looking at where we are today. And we currently are working with the school district to use fiber conduit to make sure that it's spread throughout the district. As far as other infrastructure things goes, we got fiber that runs from one end of Orland Park all the way to the other. We know that there's some needs to extend that fiber. We need to make sure we get it to the fire protection district. We have redundant internet capabilities for the village. Our water is, we're working on redundant water supplies. So we're starting to look at these infrastructure things that make sense, and to make sure that we can provide adequate resources for our citizens. But then we started looking at, where can we make things better? a lot of the processes in the village are paper-based, so maybe we can find some ways to automate some of those processes, bring technology to make things more efficient. We're looking at areas to bring in better geolocation for assets and asset tracking and asset management. QR coding everything so we make sure we know where it is, maybe what the status of that particular device is. And looking at other things like how can we make reviewing plans and permit tracking more efficient. So we're trying to look at different areas to bring efficiencies and to bring that technology into the village. One of the statistics that we found is the Orland Park median age is 56. So when we were dividing some of the demographic groups, we divided them into three different segments. We went for the 55 and up, the residents and the visitors. We figure sometimes residents will have different needs than a visitor in that age group. We also looked at a demographic area of a family resident and a family visitor, a husband and wife and a group of children possibly. And then we also looked at, we kind of looked at the millennium age, maybe single, just got done with college between, 22 to 30 years old. And we found some similarities across all of them. But as far as, the 55 and over group and these other groups, we still need to kind of narrow down what they are because it was really us in the room trying to figure out what these demographic areas should be. But really is what are gonna kind of drive our segments is gonna be the survey that we're gonna talk about in a second, because we really need to have input from our citizens of what that demographic group should look like. But for us to generate ideas, these were good enough to start with. And, we felt that, being able to, give a consistent access to updated information was key to this age group. Being able to provide easy access to transportation. Some people rely on, our services to get them from point A to point B. There's forget the name of the service that we have.
We have a CTA-like service, for the residents. They can call and, order a bus service.
It's like through PACE, right?
Yeah, it's PACE is what the name of it is.
And, we also feel that, they wanted to make sure that their voice can be heard as well, because, maybe they want to access a meeting and come to a meeting, but they can't get here. So maybe there's some ways we can provide access to these meetings while they're sitting at home, maybe through video conferencing and things like that. We were looking at maybe better access to what businesses are in the area, being able to bring that information to like an online registry. And, we wanted to make sure that the technology is easy to use. We talked about kiosks. We've brought up that there are kiosks in the lobby here in the building. What other areas could benefit from having a kiosk, and would people use them? So that's another piece of information we want to get from the survey. Some people might feel that there's privacy and security situations there by using them in a public place, so they may not be likely to use them, where other people might find it very convenient. So we need to find that information out. We're looking at an easy-to-use website, and not only creating an easy-to-use website, but maybe having workshops and training people that it's there, show them how to use it, how to use the tools that are on the website that we'd like to give them. Online safety information, being able to do quick problem reporting, maybe being able to snap a picture with your iPhone of a pothole. It automatically geolocates that pothole and opens a ticket, and the right person goes out to look at it, not maybe the water department goes out when it's really a street issue. So those are the types of things we're looking for this age group. The middle age group, a lot of the same things, but we might look at more family safety and emergency preparedness information for this group, being able to give them online program registrations for activities in the village, and give them quick access to the services, and even maybe school district information so they can get to it quickly and easily. And also for a visitor in this area, how do we give them instant access to restaurant information and maybe reservations at restaurants and entertainment? shopping information, where can they park if they're a visitor, and maybe even provide special promotions and advertising to people that might be a visitor. So we started thinking about how can we bring that information together, and really it was like maybe wayfinding and geolocation might be good through a smart mobile application. If we're looking to redo the website, can we complement that with a mobile app that can do this type, maybe targeted marketing and advertising, as well as being able to give people information that's relevant to them, their needs, and maybe a profile of their interests. And also being able to, link that again to the businesses in the area and the schools in the area. The single or the people with no kids, the younger crowd, their needs, they're looking for fast and convenient technology. They need constant access to information, and if it has changed, they wanted to know about it right away. They don't want to wait for any information. They want it now. They're going to want access to social media. If we have a social media outlet, they'll probably want to be tuned into that. Being able to access entertainment, and being able to access maybe fitness programs and fitness awareness type of materials, found that to be important. And one of the things that we wanted to try and tie to this segment was finding, technology businesses that might be interested in, moving to Orland Park or creating a headquarters in Orland Park, so we can, not only, bring people this age to Orland Park to work, but possibly also, want to live here too. So maybe if we can, and also give people in that age bracket somewhere to work so they'd be close to home and still have the same amenities as possibly working in the city. So those were the main buckets, demographically, of the citizens and visitors that we were thinking of. But then we also started thinking about the technology needs of different businesses. So the retail, the restaurants, and our entertainment in Orland Park, and the types of things they need. They definitely need some type of technology that's going to generate them traffic. If there are ways that we can promote these businesses on our website, whether it be an online business registry of everything that's in Orland Park, or again, targeting marketing and promotions to, the right people. We need to find ways to help retail and restaurants and all the other businesses in the areas really cut costs. How can we use technology to help them cut their costs? Because right now we know that, retail is, a place that, we really need to focus on helping them there. Security is also very important. So, in introduction to technologies like, cameras and security systems that are, linked to the police department. So, better coverage of security is highly important. And then, we started kind of playing with ideas, one of them being like smart displays. Orland Park doesn't have billboards, but maybe there's a way that we can bring some type of smart displays to some of these companies and retail outlets and restaurants to be able to promote, new ideas to their customers and be able to, have customers actually interact with them. And again, tying these businesses together somehow via a mobile app, being able to generate marketing activity, the business registry, things like that, to be able to make people aware of the businesses we have in Orland Park to bring more traffic to them. One place that we kind of fell short on, and input is always welcome. I mean, this is a working document. This isn't something that is set in stone. We just started this workshop to generate ideas and to start putting a plan together. But where we fell short really was like the needs of corporations in this area. So, I mean, we have, several corporations that have built their headquarters here, Panduit, the insurance Horton Group, we've got companies here that have, made this their home. What kind of needs do they have, and what can we do to make more corporations want to come here? There's obviously heavy focus on bringing businesses to the I-80 corridor, but what else do we need besides just the technical infrastructure like fiber and sewer and electric? What else can we bring to them that would benefit them? So those are some ideas that we're still looking to kind of get input on. Our next steps that came out of the workshop was to, one, create the summary, which is what we're going through now, documenting some of our key to-dos and the priorities that we wanted to focus on, which are also in this slide deck. And then the next step was to create a resident survey. And then out of that survey, once we get the input back, we correlate the data. We wanted to take an opportunity to create focus groups. We want people to opt in their willingness to actually either, be part of a focus group, or if we come up with new technology, help us beta test it. So to get involved with the process. So through those focus groups, we would get thoughts and ideas from the citizens and, possibly even business owners to provide their input and feedback. We would then take those focus group results and the survey results, put it all together, and that's where we'll then start building out the current roadmap and what our future state would look like for Orland Park, and then a plan to implement. And then, one of the other things was to bring this project to the Technology Commission, and now that we've formed and now that we're here together, that's what we're doing here. So, we have started work on a lot of the next steps. Some of the priorities that came out were, rebuilding the website, being able to, bring more relevant content, create a more modern look and feel, make it responsive, and make it mobile. That way, anybody can access it on any device and be able to get access to information quickly. Better search capabilities, categorization of the data. The other one we looked at is like kind of a quick win, and we had already started doing it, were the kiosks. Again, we're going to want to hear feedback, that are people really going to use these if we really want to deploy them heavily, because a good place would be possibly Orland Square. How many people go to the mall at 7 o'clock in the morning and walk? Well, while they're walking, could they pay their water bill? So I mean, there's there might be, some ways to bring those into different areas and, get more access to technology that way. We're working on the continuing infrastructure improvements, as well as some of the work that we have going on in the village as far as the permit systems, the work management systems. So that is continuing work and effort that's going on. We've also been working on, with the Economic Development Board, tailoring our marketing documentation. So getting documentation out there that shows what Orland Park has, what it's capable of, and why you would benefit from bringing your business to Orland Park. And we've really gone from bare bones to really good material now. And I think we really have
Video.
And yes, we're creating a video that we're going to actually put on the website, I think, soon.
I think,
Or is it
it's
already?
actually, I think it's with Mike Dick, if I'm not mistaken. Is that correct?
I'm not sure.
And it's the mayor doing an interview with a representative, and they'll be promoting not only on the website, but they'll be promoting it on TV. It's a paid TV spot, several TV spots. I don't know too much about it, to be honest with you, but I know it's a step in a new direction for the village,
Yeah.
and trying to foster bringing businesses and bringing a newer generation to the village.
Uh-huh.
The paid TV spot, is that on the government channel that runs, or is this just on
I think it'll actually be on
network
Yeah,
channels?
it'll be on a network channel. We'll probably run it on our Orland Park TV, OPTV. Like I said, it'll be on the website. It'll be on our YouTube page, so it'll be readily available.
And one of the things that really sparked the marketing documentation and thinking about the smart cities approach was, our submission for the Amazon RFP. That, I think, really got us on the map. It really showed, what Orland Park is, why we're kind of that hidden gem out here in the south suburbs, and why a company like Amazon would want to be out here. Unfortunately, we didn't get picked, but I really think that, in the time that we had, we put a good showing out there, and that brought together some other opportunities for work in Will County with Mokina and parts of Tinley Park as well. So I mean, it really was beneficial for us to do that. One of the next things also is, if we're going to implement these new technologies, we know that we need to educate people. not everybody is technology savvy, so we need to make sure that, we do something along the lines of workshops, maybe online how-tos, get people involved, get them to understand the technology. And we understand that it's not for everybody. Not everybody's going to pick up technology, but the more people we can influence, the better off that this will be. And I think that's all I had as far as the presentation. Any questions on that? And then I'll talk briefly about the survey. Or any comments, thoughts?
And it's ever evolving, right?
Yes.
So, I mean, this, as Mike said, it's not set in stone. If you guys do have thoughts, by all means, they may not come to you right now, but, taking a shower or whatever, things come up, and, those are probably pretty good ideas. So it's great to float them by the team and, see where it goes, see where we can take it, right?
Yeah.
And this is your community, so your input is valuable to the direction where we go.
Right. In the long run, we're probably going to be a lot of the deciding factor that kind of, determines the roadmap for this. So, any input or thoughts that you can come up with, it doesn't have to be right now, but I'm always open to add new information to this, or if you just want to have a conversation about something. But this was really just to get you guys kind of up to speed on, what our view of smart cities is. I mean, we're small compared to a large city where, they have a large budget where they can pretty much put a sensor on everything, generate, huge IoT networks and be able to, implement huge infrastructure changes. But if we start small and show that we can be successful, then maybe we can start talking about budget for bigger items like that. So that was the approach that we wanted to convey, and, hope you enjoyed that. The next part, if nobody has any questions, then last call. Okay. The survey. I'd like to kind of bring this up as to, the survey originally started out as 55 questions because I went crazy and created a ton of questions. But I was trying to cover every base I could possibly think of, and a lot of them were redundant, so we started cutting back, and I think we got it down to about 24 questions. And I still think that there's work to be done here, and I still think we can scale it down. But unfortunately, I've looked at it so much that I think everything is perfect, and I don't want to take anything out. So, if you guys want to take a look through it, and, again, any comments or suggestions on if you see things that we think we could leave out, or if something needs to be changed, I know the first thing that's going to come up is it's long. And it was even longer before. So, and the mayor and I talked about this as well. We cut this down quite a bit, but there is some key demographic information in here that we need to have, because we need to know who we're trying to pinpoint and who we're trying to target. And unfortunately, to find that out takes 6 or 7 questions. So then that gives us, about, another 14 or 15 technology-related questions. So if, what we really want to find out is what services people want to use technology to access. We want to find out what technology they're going to be comfortable with and what they're not going to be comfortable with. And, are they involved in social media or not? Do people come to the village hall to do business? And if so, what types of business are they doing? Whether you're, trying to get a permit, trying to renew your license, or to attend a board meeting. So we want to find out all the different ways that people would leverage technology to do these types of things. So, if you guys have any input on, some questions that you feel that could be added, or if there's any verbiage you see that maybe we can modify and maybe condense some of these questions, we'll definitely take the feedback.
Right. And over the next, I would say, 2 weeks, we want to have it so that it's ready to put into a SurveyMonkey type of format, so we can send it out. Right. Whether it be posting on a Facebook page, our website, so people have easy access to it. We can leave a couple ones at the front desk if people want to come and fill it out manually. That's fine. That tells us what their engagement is from a technology standpoint. But
Yes.
you never know. So please, if you could provide Mike that info, we'd appreciate it.
Yeah, I guess my feedback is, probably too many questions, but I know you cut it back quite a bit. And at this point, I've gone through these kinds of surveys for customers in the past. You can fine tune it till you're blue in the face.
Right.
My reaction here is you're hitting all the key points. I don't know if anybody's sat down did this on their own to see how long it would take to fill out. Because I think that's a big, my concern is they get to the 6th or 7th question, and unless they have real interest in technology, they may just say, this is too much.
Right.
But my suggestion at this point, go for it. I mean, what you got here, I think you're gathering a lot of the key information that's needed. Maybe 1 or 2 questions, like, for example, what are the top 3 locations you want a touchscreen kiosk? I'm not sure how important that is at this point at the level where you're trying to get information. But from my perspective, looks good. I think just get it out there.
Right, yeah, thank you. As far as, testing it out, and that's a very valid point. But what I was kind of thinking was, once we get it into SurveyMonkey, once we get it into a form that we know people are going to use, I know we're also going to need to have it paper-based as well, and it definitely needs to be proofread and typefaced appropriately, because unfortunately I'm not a visually talented guy. But as far as that goes, once we get into SurveyMonkey, maybe it'd be best if the 5 of us or this commission actually walks through it as well. One will get 5 eyes on it, or
I think
10
it'd be a
eyes.
good idea. In fact, maybe even others that are in your department or something, just
Right.
kind of as a beta test.
Absolutely.
And, it's hard to tell, because I get surveys all the time. It seems like now everybody, if you go for any kind of service,
Right.
away you're getting hit with questionnaires. And, I'll do it on my phone, and when it gets about the 8th or 9th or 10th question, sometimes I just drop off.
Right.
They've lost me.
Yeah. And I guess that brings a good point. If you think about a survey, do you think you'd be more comfortable doing it just in a SurveyMonkey type format, or is it, paper based a better way to go for this, and you mail it to everybody? I think if we mail it, we're going to get a lot of it just.
You're not going to get it back.
You're not going to get it
Funding
back.
source to mail it, so-
Right.
I don't know if there is a right answer.
Right.
For this, right? Because you wanna cast your net as broad as you can, hoping that you'll get a decent hit rate.
Sure.
So I would try a variety of different vehicles, including getting the blurb into the local paper, or, promoting it any way you can.
Sure.
Just one, I guess, organizational question I had for you. You said the demographics are important, but you put those last. And if you lose your audience midstream, you'll never collect the demographic information. Was there a thought process behind
No.
the structure there?
No, there was no thought. I was just merely collecting the questions, and I
Yeah,
put them
yeah.
in there. This probably, that's what I said, this probably needs to be looked at by
Sure,
a couple
sure.
extra sets of eyes, because really it was just the mayor and I passing it back and forth and editing. I like I said, I ask if you guys see something, point it out to me, and
Okay.
we'll definitely massage this as much as possible until we get it right. Again, to your point, Greg, I don't want to spend forever on it to try and get it perfect, because I
I
don't
guess
think we'll ever reach it.
if we went through a run on our own, a question I see here is, do you currently run our own? I'm not sure that matters in terms of technology. If they're a resident, don't know.
Yeah,
And, you talk about mailing, there's a cost associated with that, but
right.
the problem with SurveyMonkey is people that are already familiar with technology are more likely to use it.
Correct.
So I know my next door neighbor, Tony, who's been in the village for many years, he would never go online and maybe he's not even a candidate for these kinds of services.
Right.
But to your point, any way we can get this out there, there's not one way to get the word out to the village or to the people.
Right. Yeah, I think of technology, and sometimes, we set these biases when we think, oh, people aren't going to be technology oriented or technically savvy, and then my 91-year-old grandmother sends me a text message.
Yeah.
and it hits you. It's like anybody can do technology. Anybody can use this. It's got to be their willingness to change, right? And I guess that's the one thing that needs to be part of this as we start introducing new technologies. How do we market that? How do we make it sound like it's something that will actually impact their lives versus, oh, this is another chore I have to do?
I think
And
maybe the way you need to go about it is you need to offer it to them, advertise in the paper, something like that, have them respond and give them something. Say you come to a free workshop and then take it from there.
Right.
I mean, if you're going to send out a survey or you're going to put it in the paper or something, people have no incentive to send it back if they're not getting something for it. They don't know if their point's going to be heard or anything. So either you give them a self-addressed postcard to send back, which costs them nothing, that's easy, or you say, if you want to learn more about technology, sign up for a free seminar, and you can put on a workshop or something like that, and you got to get the list going somehow. And I think that it's difficult because unless somebody's going to Orland Park's website, which most people don't, unless they have a real need, or the Facebook page, which that's probably a certain demographic that uses Facebook. I think you have to tie it together with something.
Right.
Or the blurb in the paper could point them to the village website to access the
Right,
the
or
survey that way.
you could put something on the website when they access the site, will you take a free survey? That's something that everybody can just say yes or no and have them do a survey. And the important thing is getting the email addresses or getting the contact information so you can, get out to as many people as you can, no matter what it takes.
I think that's the key. I sign up for some listserv where I get notices from, and I don't know how I even did that with the website. Is there
You went manually registered to receive notifications.
right? So, for example, are there various email lists that we can distribute this through?
We can, and I'll ask for your approval through the
Yeah.
village mayor's office, of course. So, because you don't want to over-inundate, and we have the residents, right? You guys don't want to receive a billion emails from us.
But if it's an opt-in thing, like I opted in to get information from the village, maybe that can be structured in such a way where people can opt in and get these kinds of notices, and they can always unsubscribe if they don't want it.
Yeah, because this was one of the other issues. It's like, okay, once we've created the survey, once we've got it in the format that we want to, it's like, okay, what are the best avenues to distribute it? Is it going to be that mail? Is it going to be an email? Is it going to be the newspaper? How are we going to best, hit the biggest number of people? Social media, obviously one that we want to try and, Facebook. Do we have Twitter?
We do
have Twitter, so
Instagram,
we-
we have Pinterest.
Okay.
I think you have to do a little bit of everything.
Yes.
I mean,
Yeah,
do
you
as much as you
absolutely.
can, and, in my business, I know that getting an email list or getting good contacts that you can talk to people with is the whole basis of marketing. So if you have a list to go to, you got to touch these customers over and over and over again in order to get them to respond to you. Even if they don't have a need at the time, at least you got your face in front of them, so when they do need something. So I think for this to be successful, you have to just keep on building that list and building the people that are using the technology in Orland Park to have them say that it's a good thing, or you can go and say, Orland Park, 10,000 of the people in Orland Park use our, technology, and it's a reason to move here.
Right.
One thing I might suggest adding to the end of this is if they're taking the time to do the survey, they're probably willing to participate further or deeper. So something that would allow them to opt into if there's going to be any follow-ups or if you're going to do any forums or user-centered design workshops, or whatever the case may be, but allowing them an opportunity to volunteer further time.
I thought there was
Yeah,
a question
we-
at the survey pertaining to that, right?
Yeah, we asked
Yeah.
if they wanted to be part of a focus group, and then I think I had another one in there. Would they be interested in beta testing any new technologies? But I think that one might have been
Oh, okay,
stricken.
removed, yeah.
So,
So kind of along those lines and surveys in general, so there's two mechanisms to send out a Survey Monkey questionnaire, right? One is purely anonymous. The other one is with the unique code identifier so that you can track who's responded and who hasn't,
Right.
right? And of course, whenever I see that, I stay away from a survey because I know it's not anonymous anymore.
Right.
And so a disclaimer about anonymity, because that always kind of, I think, encourages or maybe doesn't discourage participation as much.
Yeah, SurveyMonkey will go down to just the IP address.
Right.
So-
And I think kind of maybe noting that, and your responses are totally anonymous, you know, unless you
they wanna-
wish
Yeah, unless they want to give us that
to
information.
identify yourself, yeah.
So another question around this then is, you mentioned that we don't have a whole lot of information or ideas yet from the businesses, or at least from the enterprises within our community. Have you considered doing a version of this for vendors and enterprises?
Yes, we have. And, you know, this it would definitely need to be a different version than this. One thing that we've also been doing as part of the Economic Development Board is business retention visits and business retention surveys. And there are some technology-related questions on that one. I'm not sure of our success rate in getting the surveys back, but I know that we have been sending those out to several businesses. So it'd be interesting to see the feedback on those.
I think an avenue for that is, as we move to a more electronic platform for the businesses where they have to register as a business, and it goes through what's going to be Tyler Technologies. I think there may be a mechanism within Tyler to say, as they register for their business or renew their business license, that they take a survey.
Okay.
And that may be a way to do it, but you know, you're talking 2019 at that point.
Right,
Just so we have a time.
I think it's the same thing with businesses as it is with people. You have to give them some incentive to respond to this stuff. So if you give them some advertising, or you put them in a, you know, advertising booklet that you're putting together, or whatever you have, if you give them something to do it, they'll participate.
Right.
And we have the chamber, and then we have the businesses, so we have a
Right.
couple different avenues. Sure.
Yeah, and, you know, as, you know, part of that board too, not only do we send out the surveys, we do the retention visits as well. Well, a few of us will actually go to different businesses in the area. We'll talk about what's working, what's not working for them, what do they like about Orland, what do they need from Orland Park. So, you know, maybe we need to start asking more technology-centric questions as we go to those. I've only been to a couple of them, and, you know, one of them was a grocery store. So, you know, it was like, how do we bring technology to the grocery store? Well, then I started thinking about it a lot of ways, you know, and it's like, so yeah, I fell short and didn't ask the right questions. But as we start going to those, maybe we start asking more technology-focused questions and get that type of input from the local businesses. To circle back on the anonymity, the way I was thinking of how that would work is, yes, this would be an anonymous survey, unless you said you wanted to participate in beta testing or the focus groups. Then we need your email address, your name, address, some contact information, so we can actually get in touch with you and be able to communicate. So that was the approach that we were going to do. Any other thoughts? Okay. Well, that concludes everything I had on the Smart Cities approach then, and I appreciate all the input and look forward to continuing working with you guys on this. Thank you.
All right, agenda item number 2, identify the priorities and roles of the commission. So I believe everybody's been sent the bylaws, so they understand. Sean, you're the newest one. I don't know if you.
I have not yet.
Okay, so I'll make sure you get a copy of those. So the roles of the commission are to, you know, make suggestions, bring insight to myself and the other staff members on how we can help formulate and make change in the benefit for the residents at the end of the day. Again, you've talked about, you know, you've given me a lot of low-hanging fruit just because we're in the process of doing many of the things that Mike has alluded to and talked to. That being said, you know, sometimes our heads are down and we're not seeing everything. So it takes the commission to come in and say, hey, have you guys thought about this? Have you done this? What are you doing about this? And allow me to provide an update, or take that as an action and come back to the next meeting and tell you, you know, here's what our thoughts were. Here's what we think we can do with it. You know, you guys don't have any funding for the commission. This is, you know, your time and your effort, and we want to make sure it's valuable. So, you know, things like mailings, we would have to figure out what a funding source would be for that. You know, we'd have to go on record with that, those types of things. Just staff time to put together the surveys and to put together the minutes and things of that nature. Those all come at a cost per commission. So, but you want to make sure that the roles of the commission are in the bylaw are fairly clear. But if you do have any questions, please let me know. Also, Mayor Peacock, since he's the one who put the commission together. So with that, we'll move into sort of the next agenda items to sort of dovetail. And that's voting for the chair, the vice chair, and the secretary. And this is a discussion only, again, because we are missing guys tonight. The role of the chairman is to preside over the meetings and conduct the meetings. The role of the vice chair is to be there when the chair can't be there. And then the secretary is the one who's responsible for providing the agenda information for taking notes, transcribing the notes, and then passing them back to staff so we can go ahead and put them for minutes. So with that, I mean, I don't think we're ready to take a vote tonight. I know a couple have put their name in the hat to Jen regarding, a position that they may want. Continue to do that. I think we're gonna have to kick it another meeting and talk about it another meeting, and I do not believe everybody will be at next meeting from what I understand at this point. So that being said, do you guys have any questions regarding the positions, the main positions, the three positions that are up for election? No.
I know when we were walking out of the members of the last meeting, it seemed like nobody wanted to be secretary.
No one wants to be secretary.
So haven't notified anybody yet, but I'd be willing to be secretary. The only issue I have is Tuesdays are not good days for me, so I can't guarantee I can be at every meeting. If we can make these on a Wednesday or something, a Wednesday or Thursday or a Monday, I can pretty much make every meeting, and I'd be willing to do the grunt work a secretary has to do. So just throwing that out.
And that's up to you guys to decide. So when Keith came to me and said, what nights do you want? I said, well, we'll start off with this and we'll see where it goes. So it's up to you guys. You could do it at 7 o'clock in the morning. It doesn't have to be at nighttime. It doesn't have to be a specific day. You guys set the time where you want. The hardest part is staff available. But
Right.
at the end of the day, that's secondary to actually the meeting.
Right.
As long as they're being recorded and we get a copy of that recording,
So in terms of public notice, I know there has to be, so,
we'd have to send out a notice telling them.
okay.
That's changed.
And the notice goes out before each meeting, or I know there was a list of meetings for the entire year.
Correct.
Is that already gone out to the
That-
public?
Yeah, it has, but that could be amended at any moment, so that's not a big deal. You guys talk amongst yourselves and see what day works out the best for everybody.
Okay.
So keep in mind, Open Meetings Act, so.
Understood.
And make
it's-
sure we don't do anything to violate that.
It's a monthly, right?
It is a monthly, and that can be changed too. If we don't have a lot to talk about every month, make it every other month, make it quarterly, whatever you guys want.
And
It's your commission.
yeah, we actually made changes to the Economic Development Board. We originally had it scheduled every other month. And, our thought process was, we're brand new. We're trying to learn as much as possible. We're trying to make an impact. Why don't we start meeting once a month? We meet at 7:15 on Wednesday mornings once a month. But the monthly, I think, meetings showed progress, right? We got a lot of stuff done in a 7 or 8 month period. So, I mean, it was very beneficial to meet every month. But, as we start looking at things, maybe we start bringing it back to every other month. But, I don't think this is really to change this from month to month, but if there's a better time that works for all of us, I think, we could figure that out and make the change if you feel that you're going to miss a lot of Tuesdays. So,
And some things to keep in mind, but, budget time is starting to come up. So we do our annual budgets January 1st through 31st, but now's the time we start thinking about how we want to position ourselves for 2019. And we usually have that done and buttoned up by August. That way we have time to present it to the board, bring it to a vote, and actually vote on it. So projects that you guys think, hey, you may have missed the mark on, or hey, we'd like to see based upon surveys or based upon gut check or experience, those are good things to bring up now. So it probably is apropos to keep the meetings on a monthly cadence for now.
yes.
And again, you can hear things that we have going on, and I'll talk a little bit about the website RFP we have in process now. But those types of things are important, right? So the sooner we know about them, because if something comes up in October, November, and it's really hot and you want to get it in 2019, you probably missed the vote due to the way the funding approvals happen.
Frick, I don't have the ordinance in front of me, but I thought there was something written within the secretary position that it need not be a commission member.
It does not have to be a commission member. It can be a spouse. It can be someone who's looking for public service time, who's willing to do it. Yeah, it does not need to be a commission member, just so you're aware of that. someone who's very good at taking notes and transcribing and, forwarding them on is great. You're correct.
So I guess if any of the members know someone outside of the
You never know,
commission
you
that
may-
would be
You may
interested.
find someone who really wants to be a public
I vote
servant.
for yes.
And they're looking for an opportunity to say they've done something as part of a
Right.
Yeah.
commission. That may be a thing. We do prefer that they are an Orland resident if possible.
Mm-hmm.
And I assume that, I am almost positive that position does mandate that they are an Orland resident.
Okay.
So I guess I would throw out is the members that are here today, would there be open for consideration to move the days to a day other than a Tuesday? Right now, I think it's every third Tuesday. or-
Every third Tuesday
Yeah.
of the month. But again, send them to Jen and I, we'll tabulate them, and then we'll send them out as a team.
Okay.
Everyone's got to have a little bit of flexibility as part of the commission, right? So I know it's hard for people to get here if they're downtown, or maybe they don't want to be late to work and do an early morning one. I think those early morning ones are awesome, but, it's up to you guys, it's your commission. I'm just staff.
Yeah. And that, that's, like I said, another option. If, 7 o'clock AM or 7:15 AM works well for people too, one day a week, that, it's definitely it's the other end of the spectrum, but you know what? It is done and over with, and you don't have to worry about it the rest of the day.
I've got a bit of a commute.
Yes, you do. Yeah,
So
that's
that
true.
doesn't,
You're,
I try to hit the road early and
yeah, you're,
in and out, so early AMs wouldn't work for me.
That wouldn't
The
work.
PMs would work better.
sure.
But as far as the day of the week, I'm pretty flexible with that one.
Yeah, my only, every other Monday, of course, is bad because we have an actual board meeting. And myself personally, every third Wednesday, I'm part of, I'm the vice president of our local football association. So
Okay.
that's my board meeting night. So I wouldn't be able to attend on the third Wednesday.
Yeah. Thursday nights are usually rough for me. So.
So, yep. So go ahead and send them to Jen and I discreetly, and then we'll go ahead and put them together, and then we'll send them out to everybody and see what works for everybody. How about that?
Sure.
Okay.
Keep it easy. So, would you guys like to hear about where we're at with the website RFP?
Sure.
Yeah.
Yep.
Sure. And it's not on the agenda tonight, so we'll just bring it up as a new business item.
Okay.
So we had 13 respondents to our RFP for a new website. Again, hot topic, right? Our website's a little dated and aged and hard to find things. And what we find is there's much better technology out there today, much better platforms out there today. We whittled it down to 5 out of 13. I'll give you the names of them in no specific order, but eGovLink was one of them. AmericanEagle.com, which I think you may hear on the radio. They do quite a bit of advertising in the area. VisionInternet.com. Civic Plus, which is our current website provider today. Now they do have a newer platform, so it's not the same type of environment it is today. Though the look and feels the same on the back end. And then another one called Civic Live. All fairly impressive. What we did is we had departments. Every department head was either in the meeting or they assigned an individual to attend the meeting. So we had 5 2-hour sessions for each of the vendors. And we allowed them to come in and do their presentation, show us the front end, the back end, any widgets that they have. Are they using WordPress? Are they using HTML5? How do they do their wireframes? So show us what you can do and show us what it integrates with. We have Granicus today, which we're making live to the public in the next month or so that the public can get agenda meetings minutes without having to come to the website that we have to produce. They can just go to it directly. The audio recordings today, you can't download them. You'll be able to download them. Once we move to a video, the videos will be streaming as well as downloadable. We have our water billing, and we have our business directories. We have all these features we want to bring into the website. We want it to be responsive to any type of device, whether it's an Android, whether it's an iOS device. So do we do an app, or does this website incorporate what we want in the responsiveness of it? And that's one of my key goals. I want to get away from apps. Everyone develops an app, and you get a little app happy, and you got 1,000 apps on your phone. The website can accommodate 80 or 90% of what we're trying to push, then that's great. Does it have the capability when someone's sitting at the pool to know that that residents visited the website for some reason, kept that cookie in their phone, and they're at the website, and now we want to promote a hot dog special. You know, hey, if you go to the concession stand, hot dogs will be 50 cents rather than $1. And I'm making things up, but we wanted to know that during the park, so we want to be able to get the data that you went to our parks. We want to be able to do blasts through the website without having to sign up. So there's a lot of features there today that weren't there 10 years ago when the website was initially put in place. And it's been there for a while. And the vendor, Civic Plus came and threw themselves on a sword and apologized for, sort of not helping us move along over time. So that being said, I think there's a lot of opportunities that weren't there 10 years ago that are there today. Mike, you've probably touched on 70% of the things we want to try to do, right? We don't want residents to have to come into the village to do business with us. We don't want businesses to have to come into the village to do business with us. Today we do mailings, right? If you have a business license, we send you a letter that says, hey, make sure you pay us $20 or whatever it is. Send us back the $20. We got to go through the checks. We got to do everything. Now we want to make it just pay it online. Most everybody today has the capability of paying online. If you don't want to, we still have people here that'll take your application. But we want to drive that online business. We've hired a web developer. Her specialty is around social media and web development and the look and feel, the user interface. We always say no more than 3 or 4 clicks, period, to get anywhere on our website. And we're sticking with that. We're holding these vendors accountable to that. We want to make it just so darn easy and so relevant that it's changing with the programs we have. It's changing with the seasons. It's changing with whatever's going on in the village, so that it drives people to it. We could see how many people come in from a PC, how many people come in from a tablet or an iOS. We can get that data through Google Analytics. We can get heat mapping, very simple things to do. But is our website actually something that's useful? And today we found it's not. Integrating it with Laserfiche, we have an RFP going out for Laserfiche today. You talked about, handling paper. You don't want to handle paper. We don't want to have pieces of paper laying around, right? Laserfiche will help us integrate with the website, so the residents, if they do want to get at an archived piece of data, it's in our Laserfiche system. So all they have to do is just do the search and get right to it. We found our SEO indexing is very poor on our website, so we need to improve that. So we have to make sure we're doing the WCGA standards for websites, so that people with disabilities can get to our website and do the text-to-speech, visually impaired. Want to make sure the website vendors have specific tools and training so that we make sure we're doing the right things with our website, so we're in compliance. Many of the providers today hire outside services that have people with disabilities use the website and see how functional it is and test it for us. That's the types of things we want. So we have another week. We've down selected to 2 vendors. We'll be calling them in and doing contract negotiation and then going through some of their other back office features that they have. And then we hope to go fairly quickly. May board meeting, we'll bring it to technology. It's the TIPI committee, the technology committee. With approval with that, we'll move it to board, and then we'll go ahead and make an award the next month. So things take a month typically to get done around here when it comes from an approval from one committee to the board. It's been budgeted, so it's no issue there. Most of the vendors came back within our budget, so that was great. They did very good job with the presentations, but they were well prepared. They had a good RFP. They asked a lot of good questions prior to them being down selected, so made the process easy.
Question is content management part of this RFP, or is there a solution in place already?
So content management in the sense of
How the website is updated, so who has access to make those updates and add information to the site?
So there will be permission-based as well as a workflow behind it, so that if you don't have some departments like their directors to look over any content that goes out.
Sure.
So the director would have to overall push. Other departments like the PIO's office, they don't have to have approval, right? They know what they need to push. They know how they need to push it. They know how it needs to look. One of the factors with that is, does it touch all our social media with one push of one button? And that's a requirement from each of these vendors. So we don't want to have to manage 1,000 different, social media pages, right? We want to do a push once and have it go out to them. every one of them, whether it's police department, whether it's rec, whether it's village hall. You know, so try to streamline the process for the employees.
Do we have, so for the current website or for the future plans, has there been, like, do you have click-stream or click data that has been, like, do you know what people have searched, heat mapping?
Yeah, we do heat mapping, and we
Okay.
do Google Analytics, and it tells you everywhere where someone will click, how many times it clicks.
Okay,
So we have some pretty good data.
Right.
Yeah, we have some pretty aggressive.
fantastic, yeah.
I guess to kind of piggyback on the content management question was something I was thinking of as well, because when you start thinking about architecturally how you build a site, you know, if you have a content management system that's housing all of that data, the end goal, whether it be a website or a mobile app or social media, you have one piece of content. So like you said, being able to push the button once and publish to all is great. The reason I'm asking this too is you mentioned, you know, the going away from a mobile app and just to a responsive website. You know, sometimes that doesn't necessarily lead to the best use of a mobile device, you know, to be able to do geolocation or to be able to take pictures or things like that, because you're missing some of those APIs a mobile app can provide. So maybe there's a happy medium as you're looking at it architecturally that goes, maybe I use my mobile app and create a shell mobile app that still leverages my existing content. That way you can access those features in the mobile device.
Correct.
Still being able to have the
I
content.
did a beta of that. If you go on the iOS store, it's only available on iOS, but it's Village of Orland Park. It has a gem on it. That's how you know it's the one we created.
Okay.
And it was, you know, a relatively inexpensive service. I just wanted to prove to people how sort of simple it was to do. And it's links, you know, it's email, it's behind the scenes, it's an email address. If you fill out a form, you know, it sends you
Did you do that recently?
less than a year ago.
It's getting harder and harder with the Apple platform. They prefer not to have pass-through apps.
Oh, I
that
went through
go to
quite a bit of scrutiny.
websites. Yeah,
Yeah, I had to make a couple, like the questionnaire type scenario, I had to put that in there. But, you know, a lot of what we do today, whether it's our vehicle registration, you know, the little vehicle sticker or water billing, they're all links to something else. So you want to keep it as smooth as possible, of course, but, you know, they always take you to somewhere else, to your point.
Sure.
So we're not doing we're not reinventing the wheel, of course, but we want to make sure the content is relevant and it's, you know, people want to use it. So try to stay away from the apps as much as I can. So, I used to be app happy, right? I used to be like, hey, we can get an app for this, we can get an app for that. Sort of did a 180 on that. Said, hold on, find the right vendor. It may make things agnostic to having an app. So,
Sure.
maybe. That's a good point. Other than that, unless you guys have questions for me, I don't have anything else for tonight.
I guess it would be another new business item. It would maybe possibly be able to get a report of current initiatives that are in flight. Ones that you maybe have like out in RFP land and we're working to get to.
We did
Is
present
there-
that at the last meeting, so
You
I'll
did?
make sure you get a copy of that.
Okay.
Sean, you too.
That's what I get for being a month late, right?
In the packet that was sent out in email, it should be in there too, from last month.
Okay, I'll look back for it then.
Yeah. I have a timeline in there that shows what's in progress and what's in flow.
Okay.
So,
Great.
nothing else. There's no one here there's no citizens behind me that are looking to speak. So with that, motion to adjourn.
Second.
Who's first?
Oh, motion to adjourn?
Sean. Second?
Second.
Second.
Okay. All right. That's it. Thanks, everybody.
All right,
Thank
thank
you.
you.
6:15.
Have another board to get used to that.